If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
All right, welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my live mate Matt with me. We're live on Twitter. Welcome, everybody. We've been doing this for the past couple of weeks, and we love it. If you want to message us, if you're on YouTube or Twitter, just comment in the live, and we could send a link, and you can jump in if you want to, and talk some hockey with us. So to start off the podcast today, we're going to go over the Winter Classic meltdown, which is absolutely incredible, man. I wasn't expecting them to essentially, blow the doors off of the Winter Classic, but I was anticipating it being competitive. But it was what the NHL said was the worst rated or the worst attended by people tuning in, the Winter Classic that they've had. And you know what? Maybe if they wouldn't have scheduled 12 other games in the NHL that day, and the Winter Classic could have had their time, more people would have tuned in, and maybe if you had two fan base, two teams where both fan bases would tune in, because apparently the ratings completely plummeted at the point where the Blackhawks were being dropped out. So no Blues fans, tuned in. There's pretty much all Blackhawks fans, but it just sucks, dude. It just sucks that they put the Blackhawks in this position. They're a rebuilding team, and you put them in the Winter Classic. I think that the NHL needs to start going for matchups, and you can put a location, somewhere else. Like say for instance,
Florida.
How about we have a game between Colorado and Tampa, and they can play that anywhere. In any location. Let's not say like, we're having Florida versus Tampa. We have to have it in Florida. How about we have it somewhere else in a neutral site, but you have good matchups in the Winter Classic. And what do you think about that?
That's the rumor, man. That's Florida and Tampa next year.
Oh, really?
I have no idea where, but like you said, you can move it to a neutral area. I like the idea of Tampa and Colorado just because the Kucherov McKinnon rivalry that day, it was huge on the internet. I know. I mean, the fans hated each other. This guy's better. He's better. And it's just two really good, exciting teams. I think that would really help. Yeah,
I agree. And I also think that they should. We've been talking about this on X quite a bit. Move the game to the 26th, because when you've got on the 24th and 25th, you've got Christmas, you've got the NBA and the NFL, and there's no way you're kicking them out of that spot. And also the college football playoffs are going on, so people are going to be tuning into that as well. And so having it on the 26th gives it an opportunity to kind of breathe a little bit. There isn't as much, we don't have like 50 games to choose from, and maybe the NHL, let's just say, let's not have like every other team that you've got in the league playing on what is supposed to be your premier outdoor game.
Yep, 100%.
Have you, to be honest with you, man, when the Blackhawks aren't in it, I'm not really a huge fan of it. Like Utah was in it. I didn't
watch it.
No, it wasn't Utah. It was
Seattle, yeah.
Yeah, Seattle was in it, and I turned that off. I find it hard to believe that the Blues and Blackhawks brought in less viewers than that game.
Yeah, I don't know who comes up with all that stuff. That could be made up or whatever, but yeah, the teams just aren't good. That's why they didn't watch. All the Hawks fans probably watch, and some St. Louis fans. They're not a bigger market like we are, so. And it just was a blowout, too. People probably like, yeah, this sucks, and they changed the channel. Because that's what I did in the third period. They didn't show up.
Well, they had the solid bounce back against the Habs. It was
game.
The Doc Bowl. Kirby was playing. Kirby didn't get hurt, which is actually pretty surprising. And to be honest with you, I think that Colton has the type of game that we are looking for on the Blackhawks. You said that you want him to be like the second coming of Thomas Holmstrom?
Yeah, Thomas Holmstrom, get in front of the net, dirty, greasy, bang, bang, tic-tac-toe goals. He's got good hands. You know what? That first power play, or he was on the second unit, I think, and he had some really good looks, and he's a big body. I like that. He kind of, in the first period, he was kind of setting up shop, screening the goalie. He looked really good.
Yeah.
And it didn't today. Obviously, it didn't work out. I didn't even notice him today. But that Habs game, he looked good. I think he's going to be fine. He just obviously needs more time. But the experience right now, I mean, I'd like to see the kid play the rest of the season at this point.
Yeah.
Even with Frank. What's the point? We're dead last. Get these guys the game experience.
I agree. And if that's the case, then we need to bring Korchinski back up, and we need to sit, in all honesty, sit Brody or Seth Jones.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely send a message to the guys in the locker room. I know you're paying the dude $9.5 million a year. You got to play him and stuff. But Mike Keenan back in the day would have done it, that's for sure. And, they might need a message like that because today was just awful. It was just another embarrassing display. Only good thing is, since the coaching change, Bertuzzi and Bedard look good together. And Toews's scoring some nice goals. And he's just absolutely getting perfect passes from Bedard. That's like the only positive with the offense.
I'd like to see Reichel back into the lineup too. Kurashev is sitting out now. I think we know what we have with Kurashev. It's not working out. I say leave him out. Let's bring Reichel back in, and let's let all of these kids play and try figuring this out together. We're at the point where I know that Davidson wanted veterans in here. He wanted them to, make an impact, and in some ways, a lot of them have. But we're at the point now where we need to let these guys come up and let them play this second half of the season in the NHL so that they can get a taste of it. Go into the off season. They know what to expect and what's coming next year, and have a good camp. Do you think that we're at the point, man, where Murphy's hurt? He's on LTIR, I believe.
Good.
Let
Korchinski
and Del Maestro come up, and let them have a go at it.
I would start honestly pretending like the trade deadline is like now. Start moving guys while you can. We're already at the bottom. It's not going to be any worse. So if you can move Taylor Hall, move him. Connor Murphy, all those guys. If someone's crazy enough to take on Seth Jones, I doubt it. Without us eating salary and probably giving up a prospect for it, kind of like a Bickle Tevu thing back in the day. But yeah, definitely. I'd like to see, Reichel get in there. I know a lot of people, they call me meatballs or meatheads, whatever the hell the phrase is, but he's young, he's fast. He can be a difference maker in a game, not on the fourth line. I'd like to see him with some talent. Yeah, I know he had some time last year with Bedard, but, 3 games and then scratched or demoted to the fourth line isn't how you develop chemistry, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it wasn't even 3 games. It was like, okay, we have a few shifts here, and then he was off. They need to put him on a line. Even with Nazar, I'd like to see him and Nazar for like 15 games every shift that they do with each other and just see what happens. You know, what are we playing for this year? We're not looking to win a Stanley Cup. We're losing games. Why not? Why don't we just try it out and see what happens? You know, Sorensen, I mean, I give him credit that he's trying to do new things, trying to wake guys up. He's, you know, he's practically coached his 10th NHL game, and he's pretty much thrown into the fire here. But let's let these kids play. Let's let them have their opportunity.
Yep, 100% agree. I've been saying this for a while. I'm just honestly, I see more mistakes with the veteran guys, and I don't know. I think it was a Habs game. Maroon was really barking at. I think it was Nazar, and I just laugh. I'm like, dude, what? You're the last person in the world that should be barking at it. You cost us. I think it was like 3 games ago. He missed a big hit. They skated the other way and scored because of him. So I'm like, come on, man, don't be barking at the kid like that. I mean,
I didn't see that.
Even Foligno, yeah, he's a really good leader. Yeah, he says the right things, but let's face it, he's not Nick Foligno in the Columbus Blue Jacket days anymore. He's not going to be, even though he did have a good game against the Canadians. It was 2 gritty goals, but he's just not. You know, he's just old now. So he's a good locker room dude, and yeah, that's about it to me. But I don't know. I'd like to see, like you said, Reichel in there. Kurashev, I don't know. We don't. He's very, what's the word, like spotty.
Yeah.
He'll look really good, have some really nice passes. He was really good last year, but that was
he
Bedard.
was playing with Bedard, yeah.
And I mean, the poor kid, Bedard needs a line mate. It looks like Bertuzzi's that guy right now. He's the finisher, but I still like to see Bedard firing that puck more. That shot is so lethal. I don't know, man. We got to hopefully call up a kid and find a gem. That's what we kind of did back in the day. Brandon Saad was called up. Shaw, these guys were just immediately like impact.
Well, they were
guys.
Anticipating Saad because they were like, he's very much like Toews and Haas. He's not going to be a liability on the wing. You know, they brought him up and they pretty much just told him, just play your game. And Toews and Hossa took care of him, essentially.
I thought he was going to be like the next Hoss. You know,
yeah,
I thought so
it
too. Was. He's a good Hawk. I know St. Louis, I think he recently had a hat trick last game for those guys.
Yeah, he did.
It's good to see. I'm always going to like the guy. Same with Nick Leddy. Just another guy I kind of shake my head. I'm like,
Quick question.
Michael Roosevelt we had to keep, but we could not keep Nick Leddy.
Quick question.
We should have made that work somehow.
How many games do you think Nick Leddy has played in the NHL?
He's got to be close to 1,000, no?
1,017 or 1,016.
What about Saad? I think he's right there too.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell with Saad, but with the way Leddy was treated, you know, he's at 1,000 games already.
Yeah, he was just in Q's doghouse at times, and I'm just, he's young, man. He's going to be good. And just, yeah, I know you got to fit guys in with salary and stuff, but that's one I would have made work, especially when the defense is just getting older and older. This is kind of like Keith would have kind of passed him the torch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it, salary cap world, though.
Hawks lost to the Rangers just now 6-2. It was close until the second period, and then the Rangers ended up running away with it. You know, this kind of happens, though, when you've got a team that is, you know, completely getting their doors blown off, you know, for like the past, 15 games or so for the Rangers. They got so much going on in the locker room, you know, that they come together and they beat up on a shitty team. You know, the Blackhawks did the same thing to the Rangers the last time that they played. So, you know, the Rangers pretty much gave it right back to them.
They're supposed to be contenders, though.
That's
the funny
man.
thing. They can shit talk all they want. You guys are terrible right now, and you just signed a goalie $11.5 million, and he's not been good this year. I know he's hurt, but you made him the richest goalie in NHL history, and Jonathan Quick has been better this season.
I think that they said that they're like 5 points out of a wild card spot. Even if they win, even if they make it, man, I think that their window is closed.
If I'm them, I'm starting to move pieces at the deadline for sure. Even they signed Lafreniere to his extension. I saw a tweet today. I think since the extension, he has only like 5 5 goals or something.
Yeah.
And 8 points, whatever it was. So don't pay guys because they stop playing good over there, it seems like. And don't put on a C because you're going to get eventually traded with the Rangers.
Yeah, you're going to be traded right
They've
away.
done it to every freaking captain in the last, 3 captains?
Right.
Callahan, McDonough, and now Trouba. Who's next?
So, Matt, man, do you think that the Rangers, considering where they are, do you think that they have an opportunity to kind of retool in a way and regroup and build another contender? Or do you think they have to tear the whole thing down?
No, they can retool or reload, whatever you want to say. I mean, Breadman's still a stud. Igor is still a good goalie. He's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, this contract extension talk probably got to him. Pros like to say, I don't even think about it, but, dude, they're thinking about it. You have to. And he got paid, and it's probably a load off, but, for some reason, he just can't get it going. You got good pieces like Adam Fox, good stud defenseman. Brad Lafreniere's locked up. You're stuck with him. That Hedl guy looked really good today. And
yeah, he did.
A lot of the fans in New York like him, and I saw it. He's good. He had a nice goal last night too. Really nice snipe against. I think they played the Capitals yesterday. They got good pieces, but you might want to move like that Miller. I heard he wants a lot of money. That Keandre Miller. He's kind of been really bad. I had him on fantasy. I was expecting good things, and I ended up dropping him in week 3 or whatever it was. And just you got to move on from some pieces. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good rookie season. He came in, and then this year it just seems like he kind of dropped off a bit.
Yep. I'd keep Fox. I'd keep Breadman, and you got. Obviously, what's his name? Mika Zibanejad is making $8 million, I think, for the
Holy
next
smoke.
6 years or whatever it was, and they're hard on him. He's like the Seth Jones over there right now, and I mean, I don't know if just swap those two out. Maybe it'll help Bedard, and maybe Jones it'll help out over there. Just throwing that one out there, but yeah, it's hard to move those guys with big term like that. Like
an even swap, Zibanejad for Jones.
Start the rumor. Start it.
I don't know, man. That's a funny one.
He's been a dud, though. He's been a dud over there.
I'd like to hear less games announced with Ryan Callahan on, because I think
ESPN sucks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I thought that he was a pretty decent player, a little overrated.
I think so too.
He was always like, "Oh yeah, Ryan Callahan's going to be on Team USA." It's like, really?
Why?
Is that the best that we have?
If he was playing today, he wouldn't even be considered with the roster that USA could put out. The World Juniors are dominating,
Yeah.
And Matthews is I think he's healthy now. It's so weird. He's playing, he's scratched, something's going on with him.
Yeah.
But
I even saw a report saying that he was going to be LTIR for the rest of the season.
He's got to play on this tournament, dude. It's a big deal. Best on best. Best sniper we got, so he's got to play.
Canada got knocked out, man. And you know what? I think it's going to be something similar in the tournament because they lack goaltending.
Yeah, I think Canada beat themselves, though. If you watched it, they were very undisciplined, just taking really stupid penalties. And the little snarkiness from the Americans, there's taunting the bench. I love it. It's that good old-time rivalry. I love that.
Yeah.
They hated each other, and man, it was fun to watch those games. And I respect Canada. I mean, they're still producing the best players. If you think about it, their two best under 19 guys are in the NHL right now. You got Bedard and Celebrini. So they're producing guys that don't even need to play World Juniors because they're too good and they play in the NHL. So you can't really talk bad about their development at all because I think it's pretty damn good still.
Goalie development is lacking though.
Yeah, look at the Americans. Even at the pro level, I think we're second best in the world, behind Russia obviously, but Russia's not in the tournament, so
yeah,
you got to give it to the Americans now. Which is crazy to me. I think Russia should be in it because they got some damn good superstars in this league.
Politics aside, do you think that it's only a political move?
Absolutely.
Do you think that the Dominator has that much pull?
No. He doesn't have he's got a couple, followers on his his ex or whatever, but you got to translate to see what he's even saying because he's not typing in English. But no, it's crazy. These guys have nothing to do with that stuff, And I feel like they're even hating on Ovechkin. The dude has been awesome for the NHL.
Yeah,
he's gonna do it. He's gonna eventually do it. He had a beautiful goal last night, and he could have scored an open netter, fired one. He probably would have iced it because he would have missed it. But he dished it off to Wilson, and Wilson buried it in the open net. That's the thing. Like, these guys are talking smack about Ovi and his open netters, but the Capitals are just good. I mean, they got leads in the third period where the other team, they have to pull the goalie. So
right.
I think Ovi cares about winning more than the record, honestly. I mean, it shows by his play. So I don't know, man. I don't get why the Russians can't be in this league or this tournament. Pretty crazy to me, actually.
It's too bad, especially the amount of players that have come over from Russia that could have faced significant persecution from the CCCP out there.
All back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, my goalie coach, I went to a couple camps with him, Vladislav Tretiak, probably would have been the greatest goalie of all time. And he didn't play a game in the NHL. That's the crazy thing. And he was a force. At 50-something years old, he puts the pads on still, and he does his ups and downs, all his crazy things, and he makes us look terrible at his age. That's how awesome he was. Man,
that's incredible. It's just all of that Russian players have done for this league and furthered the NHL, especially grown it in Russia, that they would be treated this way. But it is what it is. I think politics always seems to find a way into things, especially, over like the past, say 8 years or so. Yeah, and I would kind of like to go back to a time where, we're just basing things off of merit and not on, a political affiliations. But
yeah, like the Hawks beat writers. Yep, I went there. Sorry, it's true. True.
From the football playoffs to college and pro basketball to the rush of hockey, it's all happening, and you can get in on all the action of the sports you love at DraftKings Sportsbook. With so many sports, there's almost unlimited opportunities to place your first bet every day. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, pick your team, and place your bet. And here's something special for all you customers. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Now, make every game day with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SHYTOMAHAWK. That's code SHYTOMAHAWK for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. I'll tell you what, man, with so much going on, the college football playoffs, NFL playoffs are coming up, man. There's so much to bet on. It's incredible.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned, and way more sales happen happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
But anyways, back to the podcast. Jonathan Toews released this a post. Actually, he did an interview with GQ, and it was so good, man, to hear from the captain himself. I still refer to him as the captain.
He's the captain.
In respect to Nick Foligno, because he's out in the trenches every day, doing what he has to do. I tip my hat to him. But, when it comes to Toews, man, he has a special place in all Blackhawks hearts. And in all honesty, man, the dude practically walks on water. But I had no idea how much that he had been going through for so long. And I highly recommend, if you're listening to this, to look up the Jonathan Toews interview that he had with GQ. He essentially went to India for 5 months to do an extreme detox. And you know what, man, if you look at all of the hockey he did, all of the playoffs, all of the stress that he had to probably go through with all of that, it's incredible. And he really never showed it, man. He just went out there and took care of business and got after it. But he
2015 alone.
Yeah.
It was like a full season, that Duck series.
Yeah.
It probably took so many miles off that guy. He was a beast. Yeah.
And then you had the Los Angeles one, the LA one that they had in 2014. I mean, that was another war, that they had gone to, just to name a couple. But Taser he says that he doesn't feel like he's done playing, and he wants to give it an opportunity to try and come back and play. I hope that he doesn't. I hope that he maybe joins a men's league somewhere to kind of get the itch off of his back just to play some hockey. But especially, for health-wise, considering that he has found something that's working for him, and I hope that he can kind of ride off into the sunset. But if that's not the case and he is looking to, spin the wheels, Matt mentioned Davidson should pick up the phone, call him
already.
Up, and say, hey, man, we want you to come back. If you're looking to train somewhere, why don't you come and train here in your home in fucking Chicago, and
on our dime,
and see
we'll
if you
fly
can
you here. Yeah.
and see if you can make it back. We can use the guy who could win fucking faceoffs. He was practically at a 60% rate last year when he was going through a lot of his health issues. So we can use him. Getting his wheels back. That's probably a different story. And if he regresses playing, that's another story. But, maybe they say, hey, man, $4 million a year, come back, and we'll sign you. I think that olive branch should be reached out. I don't know. I hope it does happen. There isn't any excuse for this management or front office not to do that. It's not up to Davidson. This is up to Faulkner and Danny Wirtz, because they like to let their politics essentially guide them in whatever that they want to do, and but they should put politics aside and and give this guy an opportunity to come back. How do you feel about it, Matt?
Yeah, I said Wirtz already should have made the call.
Yeah.
When he found, I know he found out. Everybody in the city found when that article came out. He's interested in coming back. He's the first person I would have called. Like, hey, what can we do to get you back in shape? Let's try this. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, Forsberg wanted to come back too. And Colorado gave him the opportunity. I think he played like 3 or 4 games, and he's like, yeah, I can't do it. But they let him do it out of the respect of what he did before, you know?
Yeah, 2 cups.
Yeah, he was just an absolute force for him.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Wirtz, I would have said, hey, I read the article. You're a legend here. You shouldn't wear any other sweater ever.
Yeah.
You're always welcome here. But like you said, a little agenda going on in the front office, and it seems like they want to erase what happened in 2010. Yeah, bad shit happened. Jonathan Toews was a captain. He wasn't in behind the scenes. He didn't make calls like that. He
wasn't the president of the fucking team.
Yes, his job was to win the Stanley Cup, and he did 3 times as a captain. He an incredible player, top 100 player of all time. He should have a statue at the United Center next to McKean Hall eventually with Kane.
Absolutely.
When his banner goes up, there should be a C on the top of the banner because he is the greatest captain we're ever going to see in our history.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope the call was made. I doubt the call was made, but out of respect for what the dude has given to the organization and the city and for the fans and everything, he should be training like with the team. Hey, come practice with us in the mornings. Come practice. Let's see what you got.
I got an idea. How about you work with Connor Bedard on face-offs? You know, can you do that?
Him walking into a Hawks locker room, not saying a word, brings in so much more leadership than any other player on the team could bring. That's how big of a presence he would be. So I hope they do it the right thing, but, you know, there's teams out there that have been saying, oh, yeah, we'd love to have Toews. Like, I think Colorado and his hometown, Winnipeg. And honestly, though, like, okay, he hasn't played in 2 years. If you're these guys are playoff teams. So you're going to try to sign him, and you're going to sit out a guy who's been working his balls off all season to make a roster spot, and you're going to kick him for a guy like Toews. It's different. Here is different. We're terrible, and he would immediately be. He could easily, hopefully, if it works out, he could be maybe a top 6 player on the team right now, if he's in shape and he's still got it. I mean, even his last game, what was it, 2 years ago? Yeah, he looked good in that game.
He did.
I think he had a chance to seal the game in what was it, an over OT
almost
breakaway?
Did.
That would have been storybook, but. You know, I think I'd hate to see him in a Winnipeg Jets jersey. I'd hate to see him in any other jersey. If it's a Detroit jersey, Kane's hard enough. Don't fucking do this to us again. You know, so
yeah. He belongs here in Chicago. You know, it's just the way that I feel about it. I don't know why this Blackhawks organization will not listen to its fan base. I don't understand why this organization wants to do their own thing, and they're not like, hey, you know what? The fans like the Ice Girls. Why don't we let the Ice Girls come back out there? Or I got an idea. The fans loved Patrick Kane. Why didn't we sign Patrick Kane? They love Jonathan Toews. I mean, for fuck's sake, man. These guys were on the cup. They won 3 cups with this team.
And it's not like we're going for a playoff run here.
Right.
I understand. And
pay the fan service to the fans.
I mean, even last year when Kane just wrecked us in that game.
Yeah.
And the crowd went crazy. I thought that was a slam dunk. Like, oh, dude, he's so back next year.
Yeah.
He's so back. And he didn't get an offer. And he even said, like, when the Hawks got that first overall pick lottery, he thought he'd get a call back. And it's just, you know, they want to put their you know, like their new footprint in this new era and stuff. I get it, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I get it too, and they don't want the spotlight of the old teams to overshadow what they have going on. I get it, but at the same time, these are two players that have something to offer still, and they can. If you have TJ Brody on this freaking team, Alec Martinez hasn't been doing much.
Well, even nothing against Foligno again, but Foligno is no Toews. Foligno is no Kane. And these guys are making like $4.5 million a year. Some of these guys. Kane is making like 2.8, and he's still almost a point a game dude.
Yeah.
And still a difference maker. He's been getting hot too. I've been watching some of their games. He's back to his sniper ways again. I don't know. It's just a new, call me a meathead. I'm used to it this week, but
meatball,
meathead, whatever the hell it is. I've skated before. I played at least, so I got that to say to you. But yeah, it's slam dunks, and they're missing the easy layups signing these guys, and I don't know. It's a very boring team. Not exciting. People will still pay to go see Kane and Toews. Can you imagine Toews coming back and, hey, I'm ready to go. I want a shot at this. I'm going to sign with the Hawks. Can you imagine that first game back?
Let me ask you a question.
It would be a playoff atmosphere.
If he does that, does Foligno say, hey, you know what, man, this belongs to you?
That'd be cool as hell, but, I think Toews is so classy, he wouldn't even, he's like, no, dude, no, this is you. You've been here all year. You earned it.
Yeah.
That's just the type of character Toews is. He's a competitor. I think he's doing this for himself. He's not going for a Stanley Cup. He wants to see, hey, I think I was cheated with my injuries. I want to prove to myself that I can do it. That's my opinion, and I think eventually if, the conditioning goes right, he's still feeling good, I think he's going to go for it. And I hope the Hawks do the right thing, but their track record kind of sucks with that, so you can't expect it.
Yeah. So Elias Patterson and JT Miller trade rumors are going wild. Matt, what have you heard about that? Like, what's the deal? Let's just say, like, I'm a dude that hasn't looked into this at all.
This rumor came out last summer, and it was like, what the hell? Why? And they just signed Patterson to his extension, and just to hear like, oh, he's unhappy, and it's crazy. Miller and him butt heads, and I listened to Shane O'Brien's podcast, a former Vancouver Canuck that we probably hated while we watched him in those good rivalry days, but he's got a good podcast. I think it's called Missing Curfew. Really good. He had Brad Richardson on, a former teammate of both of them, and Richardson said JT Miller is really hard on teammates in a good way. Like he pushes guys to be the best they could be, but he said he's extra hard on Pettersson. And I guess it's gotten to the point where Pettersson is sick of the shit, and it's affecting the locker room now. So now these trade rumors are coming back up, and are we going to keep Miller and extend him? Or are we going to try to move Pettersson in his long-term deal? But honestly, Pettersson's a stud. He's young. He's locked up. He pretty much gets he's a point-a-game guy his whole career, I think. Gets better every season. I would absolutely love a player like that with Bedard. Yes, this is a meathead comment here, but who does he have to play with right now? Tyler Bertuzzi, yes, he's a good, gritty guy, but not in the same level as Pettersson. This guy's an elite stud. The guys on NHL XM, they call him a superstar. That's how good he is. And haven't seen him much, but you look at his numbers, you look at some of the goals he scored back in the day, solid. Thing is, we don't really have much to offer. We got a couple first-round picks, I think. This might be crazy, but if the Hawks were, rewarded the lottery #1 overall pick, I would use that to trade for Pettersson, because you're not getting a Bedard, you're not getting a Celebrini, you're not getting a McDavid, you're not getting a Crosby Kane-like guy. I mean, that's the only value they pretty much have right now. Probably a current roster player, and probably a defensive prospect. They've said they want defense. They got, obviously Quinn Hughes is the man there. It's going to be his team for the next probably 12 years. But, that's what they've addressed their needs. So something I would do, you got to have some balls sometimes. And you hope Mitch Marner makes it to free agency. But with the cap going up, it looks likely that, Toronto could maybe make it work, and Tavares could he's probably going to take a discount on his next deal because they paid him big bucks already. So I think the Mitch Marners and Petterssons are the types of guys that Bedard will get better with. Create more space for him, use that shot, good playmaker, give him some beautiful passes that Bedard is giving Bertuzzi right now. Bedard needs someone to do that for him. Yeah. And I think those are the types of guys that Bedard needs.
Mainly, essentially what we need is someone who can draw the defense to them. Someone that can respect the defense, because as of right now, as soon as Connor gets the puck, everyone is like, everybody swarm this kid.
He gets 1 second to make a decision.
It doesn't matter who else is on the ice, just swarm this kid, and which is essentially happening.
Well, look what happened today.
Bertuzzi, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in the past 5 games, he's doing the smart thing. He's going by the net. Yeah. He's got his stick on the ice, just ready to just shoot it in. But Bedsy's getting these passes in there, man.
Look at the time he had today. The goalie had to respect him as okay, this kid's got a good shot. I got to be ready for a shot. He had too long with the puck, and he made the Rangers pay for it. And Bertuzzi just pretty much had to stand there and pray to God it hits the tape, and it did. It just was forward motion it right into the net.
Yeah.
So that's the type of guy. Bedard needs a guy like a Marner, a superstar, good, solid playmaker like that. And, yeah, people want to see what these kids can do, but it's going to take years. And, I think I'm one of the guys that thinks Bedard needs a guy now. This whole playing with a new line mate every 5 days, and this is going to be year 3 next year for him. He needs a guy that can get him the puck. Absolutely. And sometimes you gotta make a bold trade like that. And I think Davidson, if he had the balls to do it, probably would save his job, because they're supposed to be better this year. They're not better. They're worse than last year. And is it the coaching? I don't know. This is the 3rd coach he's had. So you got to take a little bit of accountability as the manager. You're putting the team on the ice. Yes, the players have to play, but you gotta get the guy. You got to get the guy an elite talent, elite playmaker like that. And if it's available, I'd go for it.
Would you pay Marner $14 million a year?
I don't think, if I'm going to give him that much a year, I don't think I'm going to give him the 7 years. Hockey players love the term. Yeah, I've noticed that with more than all these other sports. They want the longest term they can get for the best value a year. I think he could probably get that if he hits the market with somebody. But honestly, playing with Bedard is a good selling point. Like, hey, dude, you're going to be this guy's line mate for the next 6-7 years. But we want to keep the team. We want to have a team. We don't want to turn into the Toronto Maple Leafs, where we're paying these guys so top heavy. We can't pay a guy to play goalie. We can't play a guy to play defense. We can only pay one of them. So it'd have to be a good deal, but with the cap going up, I think he possibly could get it. But do you see him making more than Matthews? I don't see it. I think
see him
this
making
guy
what?
scored 70 goals.
I think I see him making what Matthews.
I think he's just as important as Matthews. He's my best fantasy player, Marner.
Yeah.
And when I watch him, I don't get why the Maple Leafs fans, they're so tough on this guy. Like, it's your whole team in the playoffs. They have to play different in the playoffs. These guys can't do their run and gun and stuff. It's gritty, and that's why they get beat all the time. They're just not tough in the playoffs, and they don't have a goalie that could stand on his head for you. So Marner's always the whipping boy there, and it's like, I wonder if they're going to keep him, and they're going to be pissed off when they lose in the first round again. Are they going to run him out of town? I don't know, but I'm a fan of their coaching. Craig Berube, man, I wish he was available for us, because that's a guy who's a defensive guy, really good locker room presence type of guy. He was a 4th line kind of a goon back in the day, checker. Those guys make the best coaches. I'm sorry, man. They just get it. And he's really doing a good job in Toronto, and I think he really likes Marner. So I think I don't want him to hit. I want him to hit the open market, but I just feel like the Leafs are going to make it happen.
You know what, man? I don't think the Leafs are going to do any damage in the playoffs.
No,
after watching the Kings and Tampa last night, man.
Oh yeah.
Dude, they were it was like nuclear warfare between these two teams. I thought that it was like game one of the game one of the playoffs. The same style of play between both teams, and they were both trading opportunities, back and forth, man. And in the third period, finally the Kings got one in, and they held off. Man, they held off an onslaught from Tampa. And
Tampa's solid. I mean, those two teams are like dark horses, Like, I think LA has got the roster now to finally beat the Oilers in the first round if they meet again.
If they play like they did yesterday, I don't think the Oilers have a shot.
A lot of people say Adrian Kempe is like a solid, like very underrated top 5 type of guy in the league.
Wow.
I haven't really watched him much.
Based on him yesterday, man, he looked incredible.
He's solid 5-on-5 too. And, Tampa's got that pedigree. Like, Cooch is an MVP. Braden Point's an underrated goal scorer. Like, he could score probably 60 if he wanted to. Hagel and Cirelli, those guys are clicking. Made Team Canada, they're so good. And they got the best goalie in the world. Vasi is still the best. And then Victor Hedman's a stud. That was an easy choice for captain after Stamkos left. He had a nice goal. I think he had a bomb from the point yesterday. Just a solid team. Getting Ryan McDonough back was huge too.
Huge.
He's a good playoff defenseman.
Yeah.
I would not want to face either of those two teams in the first round, and it looks like the Leafs are kind of matched up with Tampa all the time. It kind of happens. I think Tampa would probably beat them in 5.
Yeah. I based on what I saw yesterday, man, it wouldn't look good for either of them.
Know what's exciting too? Like, Florida's so dominant. That could be a Stanley Cup final. The Lightning and the Panthers. It's just really good nastiness too. Yeah. They played each other a couple weeks ago, back to back, or home and home type of game, and Florida mopped them the first night. And I just see Matthew Tkachuk just giving it to the guys, laughing at these guys, and then the next game, Cooch is throwing like some nasty elbows up at Tkachuk and knocked him out of the game, or maybe it was a knee-on-knee or something, but it's just so good, and that would actually make a great Winter Classic. I just don't know how the hell you do it, but, it would be sick.
I'd like to see Colorado and Tampa.
Yeah. Do like it in the Rocky Mountains or something. Like, that
would be cool.
Put a rink out there, like
have a train come right through. Coors.
Mystery Alaska
and then you got Sam Elliott in the back. Coors.
Yeah, Coors. But you got to put it like a game in the middle of the mountains and put some boards up like Mystery Alaska style. Yeah, that'd be sweet. You're not gonna get any fans, but I know what you got to make money. I get that.
Sure.
But obviously, like Tampa, Colorado, you'd have to have it in Colorado for sure because of the weather. But,
right.
I mean, I keep hearing, like, they want to do it in Florida. It did happen in L.A., I think. Or Anaheim, was it? I think they had a game. It was so weird not seeing, like, the snow around. It was just green grass and stuff. But, I mean, the NHL ice crew, I think, what's it, Dan Craig or something? That dude's smart. I mean, he might be able to figure it out. But Florida, definitely have to be around now. Because it's like, I think it's the coldest time, obviously. It's like, I think in the 50s in the morning and stuff.
It would have to be cold and at night.
But sometimes it gets like 80. It would be insane. Like, it depends where you're at. I don't think you can't do it in Tampa because it's always like 60s and 70s there.
Right. Well, all right, everybody. That's all that we got for you on this one. Thanks for joining us on the live, this podcast. It's going to be out tomorrow morning on all podcasts. If you have any questions, send them to us. Anything you want to talk about, even if you want to jump in, we'll send you a link. You could jump in and talk some hockey with us. We love talking hockey, and obviously we love watching hockey because we're going to start covering more of the NHL, NHL wide than what we've previously done. Obviously, it's a Blackhawks podcast, but Matt's a huge NHL fan, and I've been getting more into it. And with the ESPN Plus, you get all of these games. So it's like, I'm like, all right, I might as well throw this on. Like last night, I threw on that Lightning Kings game, and I'm glad that I did. I'm going to look out for when they play next because it was such a great matchup. But we appreciate you guys for listening in and jumping on. Have a great Sunday, and take care of yourselves. This is the Tomahawk. We're out of here.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Did you know adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't? From swimming lessons to piano classes, as parents, we invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But how much are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids essential skills like earning, saving, and investing, giving them the tools for financial confidence. This investment costs less than an after-school treat at Starbucks. Start prioritizing their financial education today with Greenlight. Invest in their future at greenlight.com/podcast.